Scenes overnight when police moved in to clear protesters who took over Long Wall Road near the chief executive's office. This is day 18 of the Occupy protests, and people are still rallying in Admiralty, Causeway Bay, and Mongkok. And vehicles can now drive through Long Wall Road outside Tim Hwa Avenue again. The police insisted today last night's operation was necessary to allow traffic to resume. But violence involving police officers and an arrested protester captured on camera by TVB News has whipped up another wave of public anger. Chief Executive Leung Chun-ying and the Secretary for Security have promised a fair and impartial investigation into the case. Police say the officers involved have been removed from their original duties. But some lawmakers say the case amounts to a criminal offense and insist a transfer is not enough. Diane To begins our coverage tonight.
During the police operation to clear out protesters from outside the chief executive's office, a man was seen pouring liquid on police officers who were coming out of the Long Wall Road underpass. He was stopped by the police. Officers were later seen walking away a man wearing a T-shirt resembling the one on the man who poured liquid, his hands bound behind his back. TVB cameras then captured videos of several policemen taking the man to a dark corner at Tamar Park where he was laid on the ground. And then this. It lasted almost 4 minutes. The man, a social worker and Civic Party member named Ken Zhang, was later taken to Ratunji Hospital for examination and treatment.
Police expressed serious concern over the TV footage showing several plainclothes police officers suspected of using excessive force during the operation this morning. If individual police officers are found to have used excessive force, we will certainly investigate the case without favor.
There's a set and an effective mechanism and procedures. These have been effective in the past to deal with complaints against the police.
A special team will be set up in the Complaints Against Police Office to investigate serious complaints, and Secretary for Security Lai Tung-kwok said it will fairly and impartially handle the complaint it has received about the case. He said the officers involved would be transferred away from their current duties. But authorities refused to elaborate what duties, if any, the 2 inspectors and 5 junior policemen had been transferred to. Pan-democratic lawmakers say that's not enough.
What they've done is quite clear, and the evidence is quite clear. So for them to be simply removed from duty is insufficient, because I believe what they've done is criminal conduct.
Speaking as one of the lawyers now representing Ken Zhang, Kwok accused the police of beating up his client again after they took him to the police station. Civic Party leader Alan Leung said the police need to start a criminal investigation into the case as soon as possible.
Now, this is something that a civilized society as Hong Kong would never accept. And I would certainly think that this is a case for the Secretary for Justice to intervene immediately so that the police investigation will not be perceived to be biased.
Leung also urged the Independent Police Complaints Council, or IPCC, to look into the case seriously.
IPCC is the arbiter between the public and the police. If such an apparent abuse of police power has already been televised all over Hong Kong, and the IPCC still play ostrich, then it will lose its credibility.
Pro-establishment lawmaker Lam Tai Fai, who is also an IPCC vice chairman, called on all witnesses to provide authorities with information for the investigation. He said no overuse of force or abuse of police power is accepted. Diane To, TVB News.
Early this morning, police took action against protesters who had brought traffic on Lung Wo Road to a halt last night. A senior superintendent stressed that during the operation, the police used an appropriate amount of force. Stephanie Choi reports.
At around 3 a.m., a large batch of officers advanced towards Lung Wo Road, where they began clearing obstacles. They cut barricades loose and removed them. Some protesters tried to stop the removal, but the police took them down. During the operation, the police pepper sprayed protesters a number of times. One of our cameramen was hit by pepper spray, while another injured his leg during the chaos. Another batch of police officers moved into the Lung Wo Road underpass. The officers dispersed the protesters who had gathered at the entrance of the tunnel. It all started at around 9 p.m. when protesters rushed out onto Lung Wo Road, obstructing traffic in the tunnel. That's when riot police holding shields and batons tried to stop them from advancing. Vehicles had to turn around. An officer held up a banner warning protesters not to cross police cordons or else the police would use force. But the number of demonstrators grew and the police later retreated back to Tinhua Avenue outside the chief executive's office. Protesters began blocking up the underpass with obstacles. All of Lung Wo Road had to be closed to traffic. A police senior superintendent claimed that the police took action because some demonstrators were trying to cause trouble. He pointed out that the protesters who held their hands up weren't necessarily peaceful. He insisted that the police had used minimal force during the operation. Stephanie Choi, TVB News.
Following last night's police action at Lung Wo Road, the authorities said today they will continue to remove obstacles at Occupy protest sites around town. The police again called on the protesters not to block the roads and stress they will not hesitate to make more arrests. Evelina Lung tells us more.
Lung Wo Road was reopened to traffic just before 6 this morning, following the chaos overnight. The police today explained the necessity to clear out the protesters there.
As Harcourt Road has already been blocked, Lung Wo Road is an important thoroughfare that connects the eastern and western side of Hong Kong Island. The blockage of Lung Wo Road will severely affect the traffic situation on Hong Kong Island.
The police said they also intend to allow traffic to resume in other Occupy protest sites.
Police operation to take down the illegal obstacles will continue. It is necessary to remove the large obstacles on the roads in Mong Kok so that traffic could at least partially resume.
Hui warned demonstrators against expanding the protest zones, saying the police will not hesitate to make arrests if protesters don't heed their warning. Members of the anti-Occupy Central campaign voiced their support for the police. However, they did say that authorities have to look into cases where individual officers may have used excessive force against participants of the civil disobedience movement. The government, meanwhile, said it has not given up on talks with the students.
In the past day or two, we have been liaising with the Federation of Students through a middleman to see whether and when the dialogue could be resumed.
Tam also said he will be speaking to lawmakers to secure their support for the political reform framework set by Beijing. However, he reiterated that the dialogue, if there's any, must be held on the basis that the city's constitutional development must comply with the Basic Law and the relevant decisions of the National People's Congress Standing Committee. Evelina Lang, TVB News.